That was all
I'm fine with man buns,
Bro,
as long as you're a samurai.
You forever to get your hair done.
Yeah, it's lonely at the
It's a
top.
problem.
It's Tuesday. Did you condition?
Huh?
Did you condition?
It's lonely at the top, fellas. I don't know what to tell you.
I wish I had hair. I really do.
What would change about your life if you had hair?
Dude,
Your whole
I mean,
composition. You wouldn't know what to do.
I get to work at 9:10.
You'd be so confident.
Take me a little bit longer.
Do you shave your head every day?
No.
every 2 days.
Tell them about your new. You got a new toy.
No, I just got replacement blades, and I realized it shouldn't take me 30 minutes to cut my hair.
That's so weird.
Well, it took forever.
How?
Are you
use
bald?
a razor?
No, anytime I thought I was good and I took less than like 15 minutes to do it, I'd come in and you'd be like,
15 minutes to cut your hair?
they were dull
No
blades.
wonder
I
you're
just
lazy.
got replacement
No.
blades. It takes like 2 minutes now.
I can shave my head in 3 minutes in the shower.
I'm
bro.
scared of the regular blades.
Do you have grandpa hair, like bald on top? Do you have the
Oh, it would be straight red for me.
like Paul Feinbaum stuff?
If I let it go,
I would have a wraparound.
if
What
I
would
let
we
it
have
go,
to
it'd be
do?
straight red for
Paul
me.
Feinbaum?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it would just.
What bet would we have to like
Nope.
get you to agree on for you to just come like no shave
No.
Just
November?
let it go.
No
the top of
shave
your
November
hair.
for Rob's head.
Dude, your bowl would look like a Tony Hawk skate park, bro.
I mean,
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Every Dad podcast. We are super excited to have you guys.
Loud.
I was not supposed to start, but nobody else did.
Hang
so,
on, dude.
Or
big,
scream.
strong leader, man.
Our producer guy over here.
don't just be the
Made a
fan.
jump.
Oh my god!
You were so
I don't know.
loud.
How often are you supposed to? I'm rusty. I'll be honest with you. I've never had a microphone.
No, that was
shoved in my
good.
face.
We're rolling with it, man.
All
We're
right.
just going with it. We're in it now.
So how's everybody doing?
We're good.
Dalton's not good.
Dalton?
Dude, Dalton
His
just
eardrums
jumped
are
up.
blown.
You there, man?
Oh
Eardrums
man.
are blown.
Yeah, just turn me down over there. That's good.
That's okay. Hey, I think we probably need to do some introductions, though, man. I was
Okay.
talking to one of my boys down in Texas, and he was like, "Hey, man, it'd be good for y'all to introduce yourself again because not everybody knows who you are.
It'll be like that for a while.
Probably, and that's fine. Like I'm Ryan Tucker, so we got Rob Martin
Hello.
right here, student pastor extraordinaire at Highland Park Baptist Church. We got Blake Reese. Yeah, it was in my notes. Blake
Thank you.
Reese, the man of mystery. Like I don't know why. Like you're just mysterious, bro. Like
I don't know if I've ever been called that, but I like it.
you like it.
Yeah.
Like UF baseball stud back in the day,
no.
championship winner,
You got a
marathon
ring. You
runner.
can own that.
Coattails, baby.
Yeah, and
Rings a
then
ring.
we got Ty Clark over
Hey,
there, another extraordinary minister of middle school at Highland Park, and we're just a bunch of dads, man, just talking through stuff, talking through life, talking through what it means to be a good dad, and we're just here. And we want to say this, hey, if you've listened to the past few podcasts, we do want to just say, hey, we are trying to figure out the audio stuff. We got some new equipment. So hopefully the audio is going to be
toys.
better for everybody all around. So thank you for being patient. Thank you for, tuning in. Shout out to
Unfortunately, it won't improve the content. It'll just hopefully sound a little
Hey,
bit
the
better.
content's
sound
not
better.
bad though, right?
True.
I didn't say it was bad.
Oh.
I just didn't. Mics aren't going
You
to
just
make
said it won't improve it.
any better.
Ah, that's true.
but
That's true.
we'll
That's
look
valid.
cooler.
And then we got shout out to Sola Coffee Bar. Shout out to What's Up Media, and shout out to Debo.
My
Debo.
dog.
Did you ever get your website name? Yeah, he
Is it
just
just
shrugged his
Debo?
shoulders.
That's
He's
a
like,
yes.
"Ah, yeah,
That's a
I
yes.
got it. So everybody's good though. You tried to ask that question earlier. I interrupted you.
Me? I
Yeah.
asked it.
Yeah, you did. So
Oh, yeah.
how's everybody doing?
Yeah,
I'm good.
I'm good too. Yeah, I'm good.
Your hair looks fantastic.
Thank you. It only took me a couple minutes. I haven't cut my hair in the shower lately, so I don't know how long it would take if I were to do that.
Mm.
Hey, let me
minutes
just
now.
go ahead and say this because I've been wanting to say this for a little while
Say
now.
it. Say it.
You do not fully know yourself until you take a 5-year-old and a 4-year-old to a movie. They get a little tired. They start to like crawl up in your lap, and they take their rubber-soled shoes and start ripping your hair out on your legs. I'm telling you, I'd have to go back to probably my eye accident to find something that was
I forgot about that.
just as painful.
That's
I didn't.
strong.
No, I think about it every day. Yeah.
That's strong. Like,
Yeah.
were you wearing like little shorty shorts or something? Like,
I don't think that the
I don't
length
remember
of
the
the
last time
short
I ever
makes
saw
a
you
difference.
in shorts. Now that I think about it,
Really?
like
Short
outside of the
shorts?
gym, maybe?
shorty. No, you
I
got
don't
some
wear shorts a
shorty
lot.
shorts, huh?
I don't understand why this is taking a turn to the kind of the shorts that I wear.
It's always about what
I,
time.
You
uh,
were talking about them
I-
digging their feet in your leg or
Yeah,
something like that. Like,
But I mean, I was clearly wearing. I wasn't wearing pants. I was wearing shorts.
shorty shorts.
Yeah. Well, so that's where I object. I don't know that it's necessarily shorty shorts. How's everybody else doing?
I mean-
Rob, how are you? I suggest we just shift
Rob-
the focus.
Oh,
now.
I'm good, man.
Rob likes his shorty shorts.
Yeah, I do. I do. My hoochie daddy
This
shorts.
speaking of shorty shorts, I go to this man's house the other day, and we were doing something. We were getting ready for some sort of event we were having at your house. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, dinner.
We had seniors
Yeah.
come to the house,
Right.
And we had to.
I have no idea where this is going.
Oh, you know exactly where it's going because we had to go outside to get your grill, but it was pouring down rain. I
yeah.
said, "Do you have some swimsuits?"
Yeah,
You come out with a bikini, dude,
I did.
like a little, like, man bikini. Like,
Yeah.
why do you have that?
I have a pool and a high fence.
I love that. That's the answer.
It's
a
my-
pool and a high
Oh
fence.
my
Why
God.
not?
He's like, "Here, you can wear these." I'm like, "No,
Where
I'm
did
not
you get
doing
it?
it."
Where did you
I don't
get
even
them?
wanna know where he
Is
got
a-
it.
Do you refer to bathing suit as them or it or what? How do
Yeah,
you-
no, I think that it was meant to be a gag gift, but I owned it.
Blake is just going.
I'm starting to think we're severely unqualified for this.
Blake is like, I
That's how I
hate
feel.
these guys.
I just,
Like,
I love
what-
that that got brought up. I mean,
What?
why?
Are we, No, it was
So-
scarring in my
So the
brain.
typical size range for shorts are you've got your 7-inch shorts. Those are your those are your normal shorts. Then you got your 5-inch running shorts.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And-
because I'm a runner.
Yeah.
And
I
then you
own none
got
of those.
the shorter ones.
Hey
which-
Blake, when you wear your shorty shorts running, where do you put your tourniquet?
I don't bring a tourniquet when I run. I probably should though.
Unprepared.
chink in the armor.
Yeah.
Find Blake on a run.
All right. Let's go ahead and get into the conversation because this is going to go crazy really fast, and people are going to go, "Why in the world do we even listen to this podcast?" But it's real life. We're just boys hanging out. So the topic today that we've kind of thrown around is really this idea of being unified with your wife because, and I think Ty, you said it, and you probably said it pretty phenomenal way, but like in order for us to be good dads, we got to be a good husband. And so let's have this conversation about what it means to be unified with your wife, talking about families, talking about the vision of the family and where it's going and how you do life on the everyday. Because, I mean, yeah, like you said, man, it takes, you got to be, in order to be a good dad, you got to be a good husband. So, Ty, I'll let you kind of start with that, man, because I know you've been thinking about this for
Sure.
a minute, you know. What are your thoughts on that? Like, do you got some answers for us? What does it mean?
Well, I don't know about answers.
You got some ideas?
I will say on this one, I was excited. I remember Ryan and I we both had the same idea at the same time that we would text our wives and we would
Yeah,
try
cheat
and
code.
just see,
You got
hey,
the
what
cheat code,
fills
yeah.
your emotional bucket? Like, what are the things that really just like make you feel like, man, I feel seen. I feel like my husband understands me. And what I got, I was like, if I had put a forward on it, and I had
Your phone went off for like
it was a
4
book.
minutes straight.
It was a book, and
Just went
and
off.
it was funny. I will say this real quick. Like she first asked me, "Wait, you don't know what fills my
Ooh.
emotional bucket?"
Wow.
And I was like, "Well,
man.
hold on just a second.
Yeah.
Hang on now,
because
babe.
I know what does,
Yeah.
but I'm just trying.
I
to
just
get
want to
a
hear from you
general
to make
answer.
sure
What your
you know.
perspective
I just
on
want to
it,
make
you know?
sure that what I have is still what
Right.
you're feeling.
What words would you use?
on how to But no, I do think that it really is. It's such an important part of what we do as men. It's the most important part that we really do have to get right if we want to be dads and we want to lead our families well. It has to start with our wives. It has to start with putting her needs above our own needs. And there's a lot of different practical ways that hopefully we'll be able to talk about just a little bit here. But
that goes against culture.
oh, absolutely, it goes against culture, right? And there's a lot of different ways why that goes against culture for sure. But the thing that's one of the things that I keep kind of coming back to, and one of my favorite quotes is that it's really not as much about falling in love or even staying in love as it is about keeping the covenant that you made to the one that you've said you're going to do this thing forever with. And, you know, when you look at the kind of precedence that's been set, I do think that learning to love your wife well, to being selfless, to not, a lot of these things, not keeping score, you know, and again, we'll talk about hopefully a lot of these things here as the conversation kind of progresses. But just kind of looking at this, I have, you know, I've been married for, oh boy, I should know this right off the top.
You should.
I've been married.
You're not looking
for
good right now, bro.
6.5 years.
There you go. Good job.
18 days, 44 hours.
Oh, boy.
And I made all that up.
Fact check. Fact check that.
6.5 years next May. We'll. You know what?
6.5 years next May.
Give or take.
April 1st.
6.5 years
1st.
next May.
I'd like to start over.
Carry the one.
No, but anyway, so and there's been a lot of different times where in my life or in our marriage, we've been together for about 12 years, and I've gotten it wrong. And there's been a lot of times where I thought that I was killing it as a guy, and I realized, man, I'm not doing nearly as good as I thought that I was. And so, anyways, it's so important that in order for us to be husbands, in order for us to be the kind of men that we want to live with intentionality, that we are starting with kind of that the concept of loving our wives well, that we're unified in the mission or in the vision of what it is that we want together. And I think a lot of times guys, husbands, men, leaders, naturally, we want to lead. We get all excited about all these different plans and this 5-year plan and this 10-year plan and the vision that we've got for our family and where we want to live and the kind of home we want to have and the kind of cars we want to drive. And, you know, we kind of put this, and we've talked about this before, man, if I work really, really hard, then, you know, for the rest of my life, I'm sacrificing now so that I can, you know, have a life later. And the problem with that, the problem with that is when you do that, but you don't communicate that to your wife and you guys aren't on board, her life, her job, and gets harder. She starts to take a lot of responsibilities on that she never really signed up for.
So
in the first place.
You've had that conversation with her.
Yes.
Like talking about, hey, here's the future. Here's what I'm thinking. Like, this is what I would love for us to be able to do. I want to hear your side of that. Like, I want to hear your thoughts on that. So that's a legitimate conversation that you and Catherine have had at home.
Yes, and we have that conversation pretty consistently as well. We don't always do this perfectly. I think this last Sunday was actually the first time, was Labor Day, and all, we didn't have it, you know, in a long time. But usually we have what's called a kind of a check-in meeting where we literally we'll talk about, and there's a book out that's a really good resource that we've found a lot of wisdom and practical application from, called His Needs and Her Needs. And so it basically talks about the top 5 needs that a wife has, and then the top 5 needs that a husband has. And those needs are drastically different.
Yeah.
Like the top need for a wife is affection, and the top need for a husband is sexual intimacy. And so, you know, you kind of go down that list. The next one is recreational companionship, all the way down. And so it's really important that if you aren't careful, you aren't taking the time, you know, to actually hear from her. How are you doing? So we will literally go down this list of needs. We'll go down, you know, this in the beginning of our check-in, and we'll say, how are you feeling in this? And we will actually rate and score. It's kind of funny. We'll go, okay, on 3, scale from 1 to 10, how is our marriage doing? It's kind of like a temperature.
Yeah.
And it's funny to like watch, because like I'll usually try and like say it a little bit higher, and she's like more of just like the, you know, and I'm like, oh.
1. No, I'm just kidding.
Ooh, it's never been 1.
Okay.
That's good news.
Well, now she knows.
Yeah, no, it's never been 1. But it's usually a little bit lower.
Does she listen to the podcast?
It's a little bit lower.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
She will be listening.
She listens
to
to like 10 a day.
and
She's full of
she
wisdom.
consumes a lot of content. And so, anyways, so it's very interesting to see how that has to happen on a week-to-week basis. And then we have check-ins throughout the week, and just to stay on track, because we want to make sure that we're, you know, that we're staying unified in the vision. And it's so easy every chapter, every season, everything, to get off base, and you have
Yeah.
to kind of recalibrate just a little bit.
So the first thing I love about that is you're purposely setting aside time to communicate with Catherine. So obviously you guys have 5 kids now, so it's really busy and hectic, and so you're actually planning. Hey, here's when we're going to have this meeting that's going to plan out our week. We can talk about everything that's going on. So I mean, a lot of this stuff will, of course, these conversations will happen organically. But if you are purposely setting aside time to actually have these conversations, then there's no way to avoid it.
Yeah.
Right? You can't. A lot of times, if we're I think handling things internally, or it can be hard to express what's going on, or how we think about our marriage and like this temperature check. But
Right.
but I love that you guys, and that's something that Ashley and I are starting to implement as well.
Good.
That's really helpful.
Yeah, and so I'll let you. Well, I'll finish. You know, I was talking to Jen about this, and you know, our stage is a little bit different because we've been married for 26 years, and so we were talking about how like we're kind of in a rhythm. You know, the boys are pretty self-sufficient. Like one's, you know, he's gone most of the time, and the other one's, you know, doing schoolwork and whatever. And you know, we are kind of in this rhythm, and she was like, you know, I feel seen, I feel heard. I feel like we're on the same page on a lot of stuff. And the number one reason she gave, she's like, well, one, because I know we view scripture the same way. And I know that we view our roles in the same way. I mean, well, not in the same role, but like we both view my role the same way. We view her role as the same way. And even though that may be kind of a small answer, whenever you start looking at it, like it is kind of profound when you start looking at the God ordained roles that are in scripture for man being the head of the house and having that leadership role. But then her being that spiritual challenger, like she's taken that role. And so I just thought it was comforting when she's like, hey, we view scripture the same way when it comes to what it means to be a husband and wife. And, you know, she, again, you know, we were talking, we got answers from my wife, so we got the cheat code, but like, you know, she was like, even just the small things that we have conversations about, or the small things that you know about me that you absolutely value. She said that shows me how unified we are in our marriage, because she's like, you know, if you do something that I don't have to ask you to do, I know that you're thinking about. And it's a small thing, but it's so big in the scheme of the busyness and the craziness of life.
You do marriage counseling quite a bit, right?
What do you mean by that?
You lead it.
I lead. Okay.
You don't,
All right.
No,
you don't
I mean,
have
like-
like a.
But
Like trying to expose me, dude? What?
You lead young couples in marriage counseling.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
how often in that marriage counseling does it come up where these two people who are maybe about to get married or recently married realize that they have these vastly different worldviews or ideas of what their roles are, and they have to hash that out? So
Yeah.
how helpful is that?
It is helpful. Like, and part of that's the tool that I use for the counseling. Like, I get them to answer probably 200 questions on different personality. And I mean, Debo went through it. Like, but you know, the cool part of doing it for the church and the people that I do, like these are believers, and they do have the same thought overall. What this program does, it does kind of get into the nitty gritty of stuff, and there is like this separation. And so what I'm able to do in those moments is, you know, if the husband is on this side of the scale on a question and the wife is on this side of the scale of the question, then I challenge them, and I go ahead and start making them have those conversations before they get married.
Exactly.
And so we try to build this habit of, one, having some active communication, right, where you're the female is speaking and the male is actually listening and repeating back what they said to make sure they heard it. But we're trying to develop that foundation of having those conversations, because, yeah, I mean, you don't. I say all the time, like, everything changes when you share a bathroom with somebody. You know what I mean? And so you get married, you're sharing a bathroom, everything changes. Like, all the good, the bad comes out of everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, so, and you're having to deal with it and work through it. And if you get into the habit of having those types of conversations before you get married, it's not as awkward after.
I think one goal of this conversation would be to just stress like how important marriage really is.
Yeah.
Like we talk about, it's a covenant, right?
Yeah.
This is not
Yep.
something that's like fun or we'll try it out. I know divorce rates are obviously sky
Yeah.
high, higher than they've ever been
Yeah.
in our society right now. So we don't take it very seriously at the moment. So when it comes to something like marriage counseling, maybe a learning moment to share here, Ashley and I would both tell you one of our biggest regrets is not doing pre-marriage counseling. So, and we did a lot of things backwards that we probably wish we could have done different looking back. And but to have those conversations
Yeah.
up front and not be a year, 2, 3 years into marriage, and there's these really like unresolved conflicts that you haven't gone through yet, and now you're hashing it, and it just makes it more difficult the longer you kick that can down the
Yeah.
road.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, a lot of times it takes getting to a really dark place to where you finally give us like, okay, something has to change. If we're gonna
Yeah.
figure this thing out, like we don't have a choice but to go get help. And
But
doing that on the front end is so important.
Well, and it doesn't have to be that way, right? Like
Right.
it doesn't. You don't have to hit rock bottom before you can have those types of conversations. Like Jen and I don't have weekly check-ins. Again, we're kind of in a rhythm. It's a different life stage, right? Like
for sure.
Yeah, like different life stage, but like we're okay having those types of conversations. We're okay talking about what's next or talking about how we need to work through some things. And yeah, they're hard conversations, but when there's grace and mercy in those with the goal of, hey, here's what scripture says, the byproduct of the conversation is vastly different than just trying to handle it because, well, we're men. Let's have this conversation. I'll say what I want, do what I want. No, like, let's handle it the way scripture says.
And we shouldn't wait until things are bad
Right.
to go get help. Like we shouldn't be
Yeah.
waiting until we hit rock bottom or go through those challenges to go seek the counseling or to go to the workshop or whatever it be.
I have counseling sessions open on Thursdays. If you guys, I'm just kidding.
I'm busy.
Rob, what you got?
Well,
man?
I go back to what you were saying with like the divorce rate and not taking it seriously with marriage. It's not understanding the covenant like this.
Yeah, that's good.
I feel like some marriages happen because of the life stage. Oh, I'm getting done with college. This is a person that I'm with right now, so therefore this is the person that I guess I'm going to be with. So let's go have this big party and get married, And then life happens, and whether it's not like-minded, there was no vision.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we're here, we're together. All right, we're getting married. There was no vision. There wasn't an understanding of covenant. And maybe even because of that, as soon as it got hard, communication was the last thing that wanted to be happen. Instead of, I made this promise to you before God. I'm invested in it and I'm invested in you. So you fight.
All right. So how is this covenant that we are holding tight to? How is that bringing us back to being unified with our wife? Like, because that's the question, right? Like that's the topic we want to talk about. We understand there is this covenant that we hold so dearly because it is a God-ordained covenant. And as men, as fathers, we should take that very seriously, right? So how is that going to bring us back to unity in the family and unified together as fathers to our children, but also as husbands to our wife, showing that we're unified together?
Well, I think a covenant is a two-way street. I mean, it's something where, it's a give and a take, and it's understanding that it's not something that, I guess here's the question, like to the same point, when did we think it was okay to put that on autopilot? Like, when did we think it was okay my marriage is at a good spot now, so now I'm going to go and focus on other things like my work or my fitness or whatever it is, my finances, and like my wife is good for a while. My marriage is kind of good for a while. A marriage is something, it's not something that you have, it's something that you make. A healthy marriage is not something that you just simply have, but it's something that you make. It's something that takes time. You have to pour into it. You have to build it.
Yeah.
And for us looking at that, like I would say that is the one of the number one problems. You've mentioned it just a little bit. We listen, but we don't hear, right? Or you hear what I'm saying, right? But you're not actually listening to what I'm saying.
I can verbatim repeat what my wife says using the same inflection back when she says, "You're not listening to me," and I'll repeat what she said. She goes, "No, babe. You heard me in your eardrums. You're not comprehending what I'm saying." And I'm like, ooh. I don't have a response for that because it's truth, right? Like sometimes I probably shouldn't say it out loud, but like, I'm not a great husband sometimes.
Well, and I don't think we're going to ever accurately understand or the covenant of, I mean, we're kind of dancing around that word, but without us understanding the original covenant that was made, you know, of a God that loves us unconditionally. What you got?
So I was going to say, I think we've confused a covenant for a contract. So
That's good.
And often, like, think about what we all probably did to win over our wife, right? When you're dating, you're going above and beyond to win her over, right? Like nothing.
I mean, I was kind of fat.
I don't know.
I wasn't.
I wrote her a poem.
I tricked her so good. I had a head full of hair and 6-pack abs. Got you, babe.
You guys throw me off track so easy.
Sorry, Blake.
So anyway, we go out of our way to win them over. We make sure all of our ducks are in a row. That you know we look good. We've got all these impressive things about us. Like we're trying to impress her every single day, whether it's writing letters or being in shape or whatever. And then what happens, I think, a lot of times, and this goes both ways. We get into this what we think is a contract, right? We're stuck together now. Like there's no getting out. Yep. We get really, really comfortable. We back off and we're like, okay, what's the minimal I have to do to make sure he or she doesn't leave me? That's a bad spot to be in.
Yeah.
Like why would you, the goal to me would be to treat your spouse the same way you did when you were trying to win her over. Like pursue her every day or him every day. Like pursue that person every single day.
Yeah. I think understanding that as stages of life changes, the pursuit looks different. Like the support, like supporting them as a mother, supporting them as a working wife, like that, finding that stage in life and being what they need in that moment is that's pursuit.
It evolves, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that, you know, we mentioned how we're just in different phases of life. You got to know the season of life you're in. I mean, you right now we're in this phase where we've got 5 sons, 5 and under, and every single minute is important. Where, you know, if we aren't careful, then so easily our train kind of gets off the track, and we can go, you know, even with the systems that we have in place, we blink and it's been 4 days since we've ever, you know, really talked about how we're doing. You know, we've actually said, like, man, how were the kids today? What were some of the things that, you know, created frustration in you today? What were some of the things that, you know, made you happy today? What were some of the things that, how can I be, you know, it's not enough to even just be present, but to actually be pursuing, you know, moments, knowing, having an understanding of who your wife is, what actually does fill her. So, for example, my wife is a quality time. And so it doesn't, not that I don't say
Yours
nice
too.
things to her, but it doesn't fill her bucket nearly as much for me to go, just want you to know you are super pretty.
You look so
She's
good.
like, oh, awesome.
Thanks.
Prove it by serving me, right? Like that's just, you know,
Can you
like,
please help me with the dishes now?
and so it's kind of, and I've often made the joke, like, because I am a physical touch and words of affirmation. So, you know, every once in a while, scratch my head and tell me I'm pretty. That's all I need, and I'm good, right? For my wife,
Dude, if I walk in the office and you're scratching his head telling him he's pretty,
gonna
like,
yeah, why do you think me and Rob get along so well?
The way this thing started off before we really kicked this off, wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, well, that's
A
never,
little suspect.
yeah, that's neither here nor there. But what?
It's called confidence.
Yeah, there
That's
you
not
go.
what it's called.
I'm going on to your derailment thing here. Now I'm pretty derailed.
I
But
got
we're
you
gonna
back.
jump back on track here. So
We're even.
So it's so important, you know, that I know, okay, it isn't enough for me to just be at home. It's not enough for me to just, and I say enough, you know, she loves me unconditionally, but I'm saying to help her really feel connected, and where we feel like we are just filling each other's, you know, metaphorical buckets up. Like I need to spend time actually talking with and doing something of quality with her. And so very practically, we have created this thing that we do. It sounds silly, but it actually has done wonders for our marriage. We call it puzzles and podcasts. Now, here's the reason. She loves podcasts. I like podcasts. I'd love to be a part of one someday. But the thing about puzzles is I love puzzles. All right, I like that they are mindless. I like that they are challenging. I like that I can do them for a long time, and I like that I know when they're done. Catherine likes to mess around, and sometimes she'll, we'll lose a piece or whatever. But I like to know when they're finished, so I can sit for a long period of time at the end of the night, veg out on a puzzle, and she'll play her favorite podcast. It's a win-win. I love it. She loves it, and
Wild night at the Clark
very
house.
connected.
Wow.
And
Rager.
yeah, we just moved into a new home, so we changed it to closet and podcast, where we cleaned and organized the closet and did a podcast. That did not have the same impact on me, I'll tell you what.
So you mentioned like encouraging, right? Like she wants, you can say the good things, but she wants you to prove it, right?
Right.
Well, I was again just asking my wife this to get some answers, and she said constant. She said this is what fills me up. Your constant encouragement that I'm a good mom.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay. So it was very specific, right? Because sometimes they're going to feel that they're not doing a good job. They're going to feel that maybe they're overwhelmed. And like my boys, she always says, she's like, they've outgrown where they don't need me as much. They want to be around you, like the hunting and the things like that, the outside stuff. Like, but she's like, in that transition, your constant encouragement that I'm a good mom and a good wife.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, that fills me up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and looking back, like I could probably do better at that, saying those things, but I don't think we need to overlook, like they want some encouragement from us as husbands. Like just like our kids want encouragement that we're proud of them. Like my dad would always tell me, "Hey, I'm proud of you." And still today, at 46 years old, like he tells me, like, "Hey, I'm proud of you," and that hits different, But if we could, show that and prove that to our spouse,
The way Ashley likes to say it, on like specifically in like regarding things that she may be struggling with, is tell me who I'm becoming, not maybe who I am or who I've been. Like on those things where I know, like, I mean, she's very self-aware. So in these areas where she's having a hard time, like, stop, like, you don't need to point it out to me. And she's good about, again, like, yeah, I know I'm having a hard time there, but in that encouragement is often, tell me who I'm becoming. Hey, I've noticed that today you did a really good job of this, and I love you and I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Something as simple as that goes a long way.
Carly said the same thing, just constantly cheering me on and letting me know when you see the wins. And she just simply said, it's just nice to hear out loud. It's like just nice to have that support.
When I put the dishes away and I'm not asked to, I really want her to notice.
Dude,
like I'm not going to say it, but my goodness, I want to be there when she sees that the dishes are put away. We want that praise.
No, I get that. No.
Do you make extra noise, like putting up the dish just to prove, hey, I'm putting up the dishes?
Not if there's a sleeping
like you
kid.
just slam it in there.
No.
Okay.
That doesn't
happen in our house either. I was just asking.
Sounds like an admission.
Whatever.
Should we try and wrap this in, especially if we're talking about being unified with our wife, what does that look like and why is that important with our kids specifically? Like back to the dad thing.
Yeah.
If my initial thought is it's really important for your kids to see sometimes that they're not the most important thing in the world.
Yep.
Whether that's, hey, mommy and daddy are going to go on a date and, well, can we come? No, sorry.
Right.
Next time maybe,
Yep.
but you're not. I'm just taking your mom. We're going to go on a date and spend some time together, or letting them see that affection between you in real time, in person, is super important. And I think maybe in a very early episode I brought this up where Ashley's dad made it really hard for me because he set the example of what it meant to be a godly husband and dad. But for me, like my daughter again is going to watch how I treat my wife.
Yep.
And hey, well, that's what a man looks like. I get. I mean, if she may not know any better by the time
you're trying to set that standard high.
So I want to set this.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
dude.
absolutely. I want to
Yep.
set the standard high. And likewise, she's going to look up to her mom and say, "Okay, well, that's what I guess that's what a wife looks like."
Right.
So when we're the example, I mean, that's of course we want to be unified in our marriage because it's it's more enjoyable, it's more fun, it honors God, and you're also giving that example to your kids.
Yeah. But that's it, man. I got a 5-year-old little girl, and I want to set the standard high. I don't want no punk showing up at my doorstep one day, and that's real.
No hairy-legged boy.
Yeah, dude. I want to set the standard. I want her to have a very high view, a high expectation of what a godly man looks like. And then I got 2 boys that I've got to model it out. Like, this is how you treat a woman. This is how you treat your mom. This is how you treat your future wife. And they're watching. They are watching.
Yep, they're so. I was just gonna say I can't
Nailed
speak.
it.
I can't speak to what a daughter.
We
is,
default to the guy
but
with the notes.
When it comes to a son, that's they're watching everything that I do, every single thing, and I will be. They actually, I think this. Well, it's not just a statistic. It just is what it is. But whether it's a absence or a presence, whether it's positive or negative, you as the father will have the single greatest income or influence on who that on what that child ends up being. Yeah. The kind of influence that he has and greatest impact. And so it's just so important that we know with our wives which direction we're going. And that's one of the reasons why it's so important to be on the same page consistently. Because if it's just your vision and it's not your wife's vision, you're never going to make it. Yeah. And all you're going to do is create rather than a blessing in your home and a blessing and a legacy, that multi-generational legacy that you want to leave of loving the Lord well and serving your wife well. Like that's never going to be something that, is a reality for you if you aren't on board with your wife. If you're blazing trails and your wife isn't along with you, then what's it all for, right? And so the best piece kind of practical as we're, closing up is just marriage isn't 50-50. It's 100-100. It's both parties serving unconditionally. And the greatest piece of advice so far that I think I've been given in marriage specifically is do not keep score. It is not about who's done more, who's served more, who's been more like Jesus one day, who's done the dishes the most, who's put the kids down the most, who's the most tired. It has nothing to do with that. Your job is to love your wife as Christ has loved the church, to lay your life down. Love has nothing more than this, that while you were still sinners, while there was nothing lovable about you, Christ died for you. And to take that and to apply that to a marriage is that you never measure or keep score on that, but you are serving your wife. And if you'll do that and you'll consider her as you're moving forward together, then I think you'll build a life where your children can see that and they'll have something to step into that isn't possible otherwise.
And I think we would all agree that we want to honor God by honoring our wives, right? And like you said, the way we treat them, the way we speak to them, the little things that we do, we want to honor God by honoring our wives, the way we protect. And we talked about protection before, but we want to honor God by the way we honor our wives.
And ultimately, you're never going to find, you might find some of them, but you're never going to find all the answers to marriage listening to this podcast or others, but you can always go back to the Word of God and the author of marriage himself to find those answers, because he's the one who created marriage to begin with.
Well, we can't top that one.
Nope.
Good job, Blakey boy. Hey, thank you, boys, for the conversation. Dads, be a good dad. Honor your wife. Right? All right. That's all I got. You good?
Oh, I'm good.
You good, Blakey boy? You good? Rob?
I'm good.
All right. Hey, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching right here on the Ever Dad Podcast. We will see you next time right here. See you. Bye.